Good morning, sports fans. Lincoln and Logan County, you're in the Cheap Seats, 96.3 FM and WLCNonline.com. We are here at Jake's Furnishings this morning, December 1st, the first Saturday of December. Tierney, did you know it was my birthday today?
I did not.
Really? Surprised. A little surprised about that.
You think I know your birthday?
I'm just checking. Josh Komnick along with the guy that fills in every once for the furniture guy, Justin Tierney. Justin, thanks for coming on again this morning.
Thanks for having me.
We are here at Jake's Furnishings. Jake's taking a little time to assist some customers today as the holiday season is upon us, and he's getting busy here at the furniture store. So might as well have Tierney come in.
Hey, I appreciate it.
Right.
Glad to be here.
Talking sports. He's an employee out of Lincoln College, so we'll get a little view of his thoughts on the Lynx as they have opened up the season, and I haven't gotten a chance to see him, but we'll get his thoughts. I'm sure he's been out to see a couple games out at the Jack Nutt Arena. But before we get into that, on a beautiful Saturday morning, sounds like it's going to be a beautiful weekend. Tierney, you got some Christmas lights to put up or anything?
Nope.
Really?
Still living in the apartment complexes.
You can't decorate the windows or in the inside or anything?
No.
Really?
I haven't caught the Christmas spirit just yet.
Quite the Scrooge, huh?
Too focused on basketball.
I gotcha. I like to hear that. And one guy that was focused on basketball this week was definitely Coach Alexander and the Railers. The Railers win last night, blowout fashion. It was over from the tip, I thought. 66-33. 66-36. The Railers defeated the Tornadoes. Of course, the Tornadoes come into the game last night 4-0. I'm talking pumped up. I was on their radio show yesterday afternoon. In years past, I don't even know if they would have brought the game on the radio, but they wanted the radio for our point of view of the Railers. So I was on there and had a good time with those guys over at Taylorville. But they were excited about the game up until the tip, and then after that, it was all but the crying. And the guy to my left got the troops ready. Coach Al, thanks for coming in again to Jake's and to start the season off. Central State action, first game. Boy, you couldn't be much happier.
Oh, no. It was one that we were really concerned and worried about. I wouldn't say worried, but knew we had to go down and play. Anytime you have a school like Taylorville who's been on a been in a slump for such a long time, and they do have some good young athletes coming, playing on their home floor when they've won 4 games in a row, you know they're going to be pumped up to play. So our kids took the challenge last night, and I mean, they met it head on.
Yeah, you're exactly right. They went Roy S. style on us last night, too, cutting out the lights, hitting the music. The strobe lights were going everywhere, and that's about as much fun as the Taylorville Tornado fans had, because after that, boy, woo, it was 23-2 before they got their warm-ups off, and the Railers were on fire. Action. Coach, were you more worried about the 84-game losing streak that the Tornadoes have put together in Central State 8 play, or just the fact that they were 4-0? You know they had some guys coming back from last year. They weren't going to be the same Tornado team we thought that we've seen in the last couple of years. Sorry.
Well, I don't think they're that bad a team. I think they've got some good players. I just think we played exceptionally well last night, and all things that you talked about there was a concern. The winning streak or the losing streak. You sure don't want to be the one to let them crash it on you. And, we were prepared. The 4-0 start that they had got the kids' attention, and we really attacked them. And, I mean, we moved the ball well, and we took care of the basketball, which our kids have done over the first 6 games. I think we're only averaging about 5 or 6 turnovers in those games.
Coach, coming into the game, I know you sent Coach Harmson and Coach J-Mac down to scout the Taylorville Tornadoes. I believe they played in Granite City one of the nights that we played in the Eaton Electrical Round-Robin Tournament. What did you get out of that game? Obviously, it helped. What were you able to get off the film now that you can film games when you go to scout? What were the Railers concerned about last night?
Well, the concern was their shooting, number one. Will Howard, and you saw him. I think he hit about a 35-footer there at one point. We were concerned about that, how they attack the pressure. They like to get out and push the ball and run. And we spent a lot of time during the week working on transition from offense to defense. And then, Coach McVickers, who's Very, very experienced coach on both boys and girls side. He likes the ball press, the 1-2-2, and we were a little concerned because he does play a little bit different where he flattens it out and really spreads his line out. And we were able to get the ball to the baseline, which is what you need to do because they play so high with their zone. And we got some inside baskets, and we hit some outside as well.
Coach, and you saw the up-tempo ness that the Tornadoes wanted to do, but it looked like really at some points they were going too fast. Really a deer in the headlights at some of the looks. You saw a lot of passes hitting the walls of the old arena there at Taylorville, and I think they were trying to get going too fast. A lot of pressure on them. I thought they felt a lot of pressure. Their shots were long. They just didn't look in rhythm at all. Some of that, I think, to the pressure, a lot of that to the Railers.
Oh, no doubt. I thought we got there. We talked a lot about getting on them when they catch the ball because those kids can shoot it and they can drive it. So if you're not there when they catch the ball, you're in a lot of trouble. If you attack a offensive player while he's got the ball, you're at his mercy. So we want to try to be underneath them when they catch the ball and be able to not let them shoot. And, Willard is one of the best shooters in the league this year, and we had him out 30 feet from the basket for most nights. So, it was just a great effort from our defensive side.
Coach, I've only seen the one game, been on vacation for Thanksgiving and stuff, but I've been reading all the box scores, and what I see in the box scores kind of makes me excited because see a lot of balance, and we saw it again last night. You had 3 guys in double figures, another guy with 8 points. I think that bodes well. Can you talk about that? And it just seems like every game consistently, you guys have been putting 2 or 3 guys in double figures.
Yeah, I think we're well balanced, but it also goes back to the guy who didn't get in double figures, and that was Max Cook.
Yeah, I think he had 9 assists.
He had 9 assists, and he had a great floor game. He ran the ball. He's getting it to the people who are open, and we talked after the game. He said, "Coach, I don't care if I score. I just want to win." And that's a great attitude to have from a point guard standpoint. Is he's getting it to the guys that can hit the shots, and I thought he had maybe one of the best games he's had since he's been up at the high school level. So we don't want him to stop there. We want him to continue, but. I really like this team. I think they like each other. I think they understand each other. And we're missing Joey Olden, and I thought Will Podbelsic had a great game last night. He's kind of he's a little bulldog. He's got a little mean streak in him, and that's what you got to have to play the point. And he got out and covered. He got burnt once where he got below the middleman, and Willard came over the top and hit a jumper there at the top of the key. But other than that, he was solid the whole night. So. I can name every kid.
Yeah, there really were not a lot of negatives last night.
No.
That's a good team, though. I think back to some of the best teams that Lincoln's had the last 5 to 10 years, and they've been teams where you've had 4 or 5 guys who can score and who can be a threat, who you can run a play for, and, make that other team respect everybody. You can't focus on one guy.
Well, one of the things we did last night was, their primary defense is the 1-2-2 and even back in the half-court 1-2-2. And we forced them right out. There in the third quarter, they went man. We hit 3 or 4 threes in a row, and they went man.
Well, that lasted 2 possessions.
Yeah, and then we scored 2 easy baskets out of our man offense. And I was really pleased with our guys on that because we spent all week on zone offense. I don't think there was one segment throughout the week that we ran man-to-man offense. And, for majority of the time, most of our time is spent on man-to-man offense and here and there hit and miss against the zone. So, I don't think many people's going to have a lot of success playing zone against us.
No, not the way we shot it last night. And I'll give you a couple of reasons why Coach Al might have been a little nervous about last night. The Railers all-time in the Central State 8, 211, now 212 and 59, by far the best record in the history of the Central State 8. And you drop down to Taylorville, which after you lose 85 in a row would give you part of this record, 48 and 222, 48 wins to 223 losses now. So you become that team that breaks that streak. And, to me it wasn't a huge deal. I mean, it's got to come to an end. Obviously, you didn't want it to be your team, but the way the Railers started out last night, the quarters go like this: 23-2 in the first quarter, and then 9-9 in the second quarter. I love the quote by Coach McVickers in the paper this morning. He said they came out on fire, that being the Railers, but we did keep it even in the second quarter. Unfortunately, there's 4 in a basketball game. At third quarter, the Railers outscored them 24-15. Really, to get the hot shooting started again in the third was Tyler Horsham, who had several threes, make it 5 on the game, and then 10-10 as we started to unload the bench a little bit, as Taylorville went to the bench often and really early in the fourth quarter to make that 66-36. We're going to take a quick commercial break and be back here with Coach Al, Justin Tierney, and also myself, Josh Komnick, as we break down a little more of the stats from the game. We'll give you some of the stat lines from the Railers. They're very impressive. The Railers 5-1, 1-0 in the Central State 8. We'll also talk about the rest of the schools that played in the Central State 8 last night. We're out here at Jake's Furnishings, 96.3 FM and WLCNonline.com.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
Yes. Thank you, Jim. I should have never said anything about it, but I did just turn 16. I just got my license, so I'm ready to rock and suit up, Coach, if you need me. But back out here at Jake's Furnishings, the Railers were victorious 66-36 in what some thought might be a close one, but it really wasn't. Right from the tip, the Railers improved to 5-1 on the season, 1-0 in the conference. Taylorville drops to 4-1, 0-1 in the conference to extend not a good streak, the bad streak. 85 in a row now for Taylorville against Central State 8 foe. And Coach Alexander along with Josh Komnick and Justin Tierney. And guys, let's look at some of the stats for the game for Taylorville. Really not a bad percentage from two-point land. They were 8 of 15 for 53%. As Coach said, they like to shoot the three, and that's what they did. They just didn't connect on very many of them. 6 of 29 for 21%. And with a lot of threes, you don't get a lot of easy baskets. You don't get to the free throw line. Only 2 of 5 from the free throw line. They turned the ball over 14 times, 8 assists. They did have 27 total rebounds. 12 of those offensive, but I think a lot of those were in the second half. We really did a good job on the boards, especially in the first half when we really extended our lead. And it becomes human nature, I think, also in the second half to let down a hair more. I don't know that it was a huge letdown. I thought the Railers played extremely hard and well all game. But they got a few more rebounds there in the second half. But all in all, Kyle Willauer, their guy that had put up 21, he'd put up 25 already this season. The Railers held him to 11. And I also think a big key was Tanner Jackson. He was a scorer for them that has been there for quite a while, and he's a senior now finally. He only had 5 points, Coach. He was a guy that scored for him last year, and even with a better team this year, I know Coach McVickers, from what I talked to him, he was one of their leaders.
Well, he comes from everywhere. He'll play in the middle of the zone. He'll be in the corner at the top. You know, he's about a 6'1", real bulky type kid that, he's probably their biggest kid they had there on the floor. You know, Taylorville's not very big.
No.
I think we had more size than they did, and that's unusual. But our kids, there was 2 people, really 3. McChristy, we wanted to know where he was at, and we wanted to really know where Willauer, because I think we overplayed a lot of spots. The ball got in the middle, and we had some easy scores in there, but we did shut down their three-point shooting, and, when you can do that and control the boards, I thought the kids done a nice job in the first half of the rebounding. I think they only got 1 shot, and at the other end, I thought when we did miss, we were getting second and third shots, and, with that combination, you're going to have a pretty good game.
Yeah, all in all, it was, again, a very very well-rounded game, and we'll get some of the stats for the Railers. The Railers from two-point land shoot 12 of 19. You got to like that. The Railers getting more twos, and that's will lead to a lot easier scores and some more scores on the some more points on the scoreboard. 63%, 12 of 30 from the three-point land, 40%, and 6 of 8, 75%. The Railers only turned the ball over 5 times. 18 assists, you got to love that. That's a nice ratio, 18 assists to 5 turnovers. 33 total rebounds, 12 of them offensive. A lot of those offensive rebounds, I believe we had, I want to say, if I remember back, 7 or 8 in the first half. A lot of those Gavin Block, Edward Bowlby getting some big offensive rebounds that kept some possessions alive. And some of the stat lines for the Railers: 16 points for Will Podbelsic, 16 points for Gavin Block, 15 for Tyler Horsham. Edward Bowlby had a nice game with 8 points. Let's just give you a floor game for Max Cook: 5 points, 5 total rebounds, 9 assists. Gavin Block, 16 points, 9 rebounds, 2 of them offensive, and 6 assists. You can talk about a number of different guys, Coach, but I thought, to me, Gavin last night looked as athletic as I've seen him in a Railer uniform. I'm not talking about just getting to the basket. The way he was up on the rebounds, he was rim level with some rebounds, and maybe it was last week with all those games that we played, 5 games in 6 days, a guy that's not physically as strong as he's going to be, just a sophomore. Maybe not all the way in condition, full strength yet, but last night he was that type of player that we were expecting.
Yeah, I thought Gavin had a very solid game. He got inside. You know, he's that 4-man that I know I like to find.
You've had the luxury of having some good ones.
Well, I think that's a key part to our program is, taking a bigger man that can basically play a guard, and that helps our ball handling versus pressure. And, it's really a good feeling to know that we've got him for 2.5 more years. And, because that's a big spot in our program is to be able to run it because, basically, we've had some really good, I think you played the 4 spot a year. I know
Schick,
Ben Brackney.
I think
Christian played there a little bit last year.
Yeah, Nathaniel Smith. I mean, you've got some guys that can have been.
You go clear back to Jeff.
Yeah,
I mean, ever since I've been here, I've had the luxury of having a big 4-man that can handle the ball to take the pressure off our points, and Gavin's one of them that's going to be really, really good at it.
Yeah, Coach, and talk a little bit about Will Podbelsic. I thought, again, an animal in the first tournament, not a lot of time because he was getting into foul trouble. I thought he did a good job. He was very aggressive. One play I just remember, we had a Railer and a Taylorville guy going up for a rebound, and all of a sudden you see Will Podbelsic come out of nowhere, and he was higher, quicker than any of those guys were. He got fouled. It was almost like a receiver going up for a catch over the middle, and he took the bump, got the rebound, and from there on I knew he was on his game.
Yeah, he had a great game, and I don't know if he was nervous last week or whatever, but he's kind of settled down, and I thought he played really well against Centennial as well. Mm-hmm. So, consistency will be the key for this team is whether we can come back next week and perform like we have. And I don't doubt these kids because they're working hard every day in practice. And when you find a group of kids that'll work hard every day, they're going to be pretty consistent.
Yeah, Coach, you can't beat, though, too, Will, coming in, a senior leader coming in when you really needed him, especially after Joey goes down with a broken hand and a broken arm. Any more that you've heard on Joey, is any more timetable? Can we see him by Collinsville? Is that already ruled out pretty much?
It was about 6 to 7 weeks probably, and even by the time he gets back, I'd say more like having him back at full steam by 8 weeks. Mm-hmm. But it'll just depend on how it heals, and we've made adjustments. It really cut into our depth, but I felt better because the first time after Monday, he had to go back Wednesday. After Monday, he said probably 8 to 10. And then he went back and had it set on Wednesday, and they said around 6 weeks. So we're hoping 6 weeks, and we hope he heals a lot quicker.
Yeah, we'll need him. Definitely need him out there.
Defensively, I mean, he makes things just really, really hard, and it gives us depth, and it'll let Will play back at his spot, and it'll just make things. The problem you have when you get somebody hurt is when they come back. Now you got your rotations and things all change. So you just hope that it doesn't throw your balance off that your team has developed over those 6 weeks.
Tyler Horsham got this game going early, Coach, in the first quarter with some hot shooting. He again got it going in the third quarter to open up. And you talk about, I told Jeff as we came back on after halftime that the first 3 minutes to see, Taylorville might have a run in them, but Tyler quickly put that away. He was 5 of 14 from three-point land. He had 15 points. I believe it was his birthday last night, I believe. So a good game on his birthday and some hot shooting. When you can get those guys, especially a shooter like Tyler, we've seen him, especially last year, when he gets hot, he can fill it up.
Yeah, he's a really a pure shooter. When he gets on a roll, he's really really pretty good. But I thought we had a couple times last night where I was really upset with the kids, and it all deals with closing out quarters, closing out halves, and at the end of the third quarter we had a cross-court pass that they stole and went down. Unfortunately for us, they shot it real quick, missed, and we got it back and came right back down. And then the other one was there at the end of the first half, or start of the second half, where we had the possession and we didn't have a very good possession right out of the block, and I think we had a turnover right there at the start of the second half. And really, those are a couple of things that I would be the negative parts about last night. So, but you got to be able to close out games. You're looking at the end of each quarter. Depending on the possession, you're looking at a 4 to 6 point play. If you have the possession arrow at the end of the first quarter, you hit a 3 at the end of the first, get the ball to start the second quarter, there's 6 points right there in the swing of a game. So, closing out quarters and closing out the end of the games are very important.
Yeah, those will be things that are going to be more important as we get on later in the season. It's only going to get more difficult from here. And starting next week, Jacksonville. Off to a 4-0 start and beating some bigger schools down south.
Our schedule in December is probably, I don't recall it ever being as tough as it is this year. I mean, we've got probably 3 of the favorites coming up here the next 3 Fridays, and then you go to Normal West. That's Jacksonville's 4-0. They were supposed to play last night at Rochester, but they had to cancel because of the
band concert.
Something.
Band concert.
The
snow.
I think they're having trouble with the new gym down. I'm not quite sure. I think they're in litigation over something, and I don't even think they're playing in the new gym this year. So I'm sure space is a problem, and throughout all of that, I'm sure there was a scheduling problem that came about.
Well, Coach, Taylorville coming in, or not Taylorville, Jacksonville coming in next week, and they're big. They've got their stud back, Peak, that was out all year, really, basically, with a vertebrae injury. They're big inside. They've got Keene, who's been a starter, I believe, for 4 years, 6'5",
big, mean
250, going to ISU on a tight end scholarship. Blake Hance, I think, is 6'7", probably 240. He's been playing several years. As you talked about last night, Coach Dugan's son, 6'4" guard. Going to be a huge test again, but if you have them ready like you did, all you have to do is emulate this week and just bring them into next week, Coach. We'll be fine.
Well, we're going to see about, they'll play a matchup zone, which is more of a, you got to attack it a little bit different than a regular zone. You got to put a combination of zone in there with man-to-man principles and so forth, because you got to have a lot of movement to attack them. But I don't think they're going to be any quicker than what Taylorville was. The only thing is the size will be a factor, and whether, if we can control the boards, take care of the pressure and hit shots, they're going to have a hard time covering us. So if we make shots, we can make a game of it. And, they didn't play last night, but they do play this afternoon against Crete Monee, I believe, down at Springfield, which whoever set that up done a great job, because we get to see.
So we can get down there and watch them.
In one day, we can scout all 3 of our opponents here in December. So they must have been thinking of us.
Well, Coach, thanks for coming in again. Real quickly, the scores: Central State 8 action last night. Southeast, not a surprise, 74-49. They're 4-0 now, 1-0 in the conference. Springfield 0-4, 0-1 in the conference, and Springfield really down this year. But maybe a surprise to a lot of people. Griffin 55, Lanphier 42. Griffin 3-0, 1-0 in the conference. Lanphier falls to 2-2, 0-1 in the conference. Jeff and I talked a little bit about last night. This conference this year is kind of like the Big Ten, very spread out, a lot of good basketball teams, and you better protect your home court and see if you can sneak out a couple on the road.
Well, no doubt about it, and we our schedule works in our favor. With we had to go to Taylorville this year. They don't come to us because we play the other game at the Meyer Classic. You got Jacksonville, who's one of the favorites. They come to Roy S. And Chatham as well this month. So we've got a lot of good basketball out at the old gym, and hopefully our crowd will help us get through it.
Yeah, you play the good competition real quickly before we let you go. Could be a great thing for the seeding at Collinsville, or it could be a bad thing. You're playing some of the top teams in our conference. They only look at losses for the most part in Collinsville, and they may look at the competition a little bit, but you're also playing for that seed in Collinsville when it comes Christmas time.
Yeah, and I think we'll probably have 2 more games before that. I think they'll do it probably the 16th. I think we play at Southeast, so I think that that will be...
they're in Collinsville too, so that'll be a big game. That could be a game for one of those top 4 seeds.
Yeah. But the bad thing is we got to go to Southeast to play, and their coach does an outstanding job there. LT does. The kids play hard. They play within themselves. They play together.
They've had it seems like they've had some development of a big guy. We knew they were going to have guards in Jagger Anderson and Herman Senor, and this big kid is Jalen Henry, is a 6'8" center. Last night had 17 points and 13 rebounds. So they've been able to stick him in the middle of those 2 guards. They'll be a good team. That's always a good game.
Yeah, it'll be a tough game down there, but let's worry about Jacksonville first.
Yep, we got a tough one next week. So all the Railer fans come out. You're going to see a good team and 2 good teams taking the floor next Friday night. Coach, again, thanks for coming in, and good luck. As long as you do the same things you did this week, I like our chances.
Oh, I do too. Just tell the guys that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got to repeat whatever practice schedule you went through. So that's going to do it. We'll be back here in just a couple minutes. We've got a couple of junior high students stopping by that are going to be taking the field at the Edward Jones Dome in St. Louis tomorrow, and we're going to talk a little bit about them and what they've got to do at the football stadium. So we'll be back here. We're out at Jake's Furnishings, 96.3 FM and WLCN online.